Warning: this content is fiction inspired by historical events. The Grand Hotel Ashbourne and its characters are products of imagination, though set against the real backdrop of World War II Portugal. Previously on Hotel Ashbourne, American spy Jack Harper arrived in neutral Lisbon hunting crucial intelligence that could save thousands of lives. At the mysterious Hotel Ashbourne, he encountered Anna Weiss, a hotel receptionist hiding dangerous secrets, and the menacing Colonel Reinhardt, whose suspicions grow by the hour. When young maid Beatrice slipped Jack a brass key to the sealed room 17, promising answers, Jack discovered something that changed everything. The key slides into the lock with a whisper of metal against metal. Jack's pulse hammers against his collar as the mechanism clicks softly in the midnight silence. His fingers close around the handle, ready to turn it, when a voice drifts through the wooden door like smoke through a keyhole. "Don't open it," Jack freezes, his blood turning to ice water. The voice is female, barely a breath but unmistakably there. Someone is inside room 17, and they know he's coming. For a heartbeat, the corridor holds its breath. No footsteps, no movement, just the weight of watching eyes he can't see. Then Anna's voice cuts through his paralysis, urgent and low. "Jack, what are you doing here?" He spins around to find her emerging from the service stairwell, her evening dress replaced by a practical dark coat, her hair loose around her shoulders. In the dim light, she looks less like a hotel receptionist and more like what he's beginning to suspect she really is. "I could ask you the same thing," Jack whispers, his hand still resting on the door handle. "Though I'm guessing we're both here for the same reason." Anna moves closer, her green eyes darting between Jack and the sealed door. "That room has been locked for months. Whatever you think you'll find in there, it's not worth the risk. Someone just told me not to open it, from inside." Anna's composure cracks for just a moment, revealing something that looks like fear. "That's impossible. Room 17 has been empty since December." "Has it?" Jack's voice carries more edge than he intends. "Because Beatrice seemed pretty convinced I needed to see what's in there, and this key didn't come from hotel management." Their whispered conversation hangs between them like a loaded gun. Jack can feel the electricity of her proximity, the way her breath catches when she steps closer to examine the key in his hand. Their fingers brush as she takes it, and for a moment, the danger surrounding them fades into something more immediate, more personal. "Where did you get this?" she asks, her voice softer now. "Your friend B, along with some interesting suggestions about doors I should avoid and doors I should open." Anna's laugh is bitter. "Beatrice is many things, but she's not my friend. She works for whoever pays her most, and in this hotel that could be anyone." The key feels heavy in Jack's palm as Anna hands it back, their fingers lingering together longer than necessary. Despite everything, despite the danger and the secrets and the whispered voice behind the door, Jack finds himself studying the curve of Anna's mouth in the dim light. "So, are you going to tell me what you're really doing here?" he asks. "Because I'm fairly certain hotel receptionists don't typically prowl the corridors at midnight wearing coats like that. I could say the same about shipping executives." Before Jack can respond, footsteps echo from the main corridor, steady and purposeful. Both he and Anna press themselves against the wall as the sounds grow closer. Through the shadows, they can make out the silhouette of Colonel Reinhardt moving with military precision toward their end of the hallway. Anna's hand finds Jack's arm, her grip urgent. "He can't find us here. Not together." "Why? What aren't you telling me?" "But there's no time for explanations." Reinhardt's footsteps have stopped just around the corner, and they can hear him speaking in low German to someone Jack can't see. Anna makes a decision. She takes the key from Jack's hand and slides it into the lock of room 17, turning it with practiced ease. The door opens silently, and she pulls Jack inside just as Reinhardt's voice grows louder. Room 17 isn't empty. The space that should have been under repair is instead a fully operational command center. Maps of Europe cover every wall, marked with red pins and coded notations that Jack recognizes immediately as resistance safe house locations. A radio transmitter sits on a desk beside stacks of forged documents and photographs of faces he knows from intelligence briefings, but But that's not what stops Jack cold. It's the evidence of recent habitation, a coffee cup still warm to the touch, cigarette smoke lingering in the air. A suitcase lying open on the narrow bed, revealing multiple passports with the same photograph but different names. Anna closes the door behind them and leans against it, her breathing shallow. Now you know. Know what exactly? Why I told you not to open it. Jack moves to the desk, his training taking over as he catalogs everything he sees. The radio is military grade, far beyond anything a hotel would need. The documents are a mixture of German, Portuguese, and what looks like coded English. But it's the open suitcase that draws his attention. He recognizes one of the names immediately. Klaus Weber, the contact he was supposed to meet in Lisbon. The contact who never showed up for their arranged meeting 3 days ago. These passports, Jack says, his voice tight. One of these names is connected to my mission. Anna moves to stand beside him, close enough that he can smell her perfume mixed with cigarette smoke and fear. Klaus Weber, Jack's head snaps toward her. How do you know that name? Because Klaus Weber has been dead for a week. The revelation hits Jack like cold water. His contact, the man who was supposed to deliver the intelligence he came to retrieve, has been dead since before Jack even arrived in Lisbon, which means either his mission was compromised from the start or someone has been using Weber's identity. Who killed him? Anna hesitates, then moves to one of the maps on the wall. She points to a red pin stuck into Lisbon's harbor district. He was found here, in the river, with his throat cut. The police called it a robbery. But Klaus Weber never carried more than enough money for coffee and newspapers. Jack studies the map, noting how many pins are concentrated around the hotel district. And you know this because? Because Klaus Weber was my brother. The words hang in the air between them like smoke from a gun barrel. Jack feels the pieces of the puzzle shifting in his mind, creating a picture he doesn't like. If Klaus Weber was Anna's brother and Klaus Weber was his contact, then Anna Weiss is more than just a hotel receptionist with anti-Nazi sympathies. Your brother was OSS? Abwehr, Anna says quietly. German military intelligence, but working as a double agent for the Allies. Abwehr, Jack knows, is Hitler's military intelligence service, responsible for espionage and counterintelligence throughout occupied Europe. Having a double agent inside their ranks would be invaluable to the Allied cause. Which means the intelligence I came to retrieve is here. Anna moves to a panel in the wall that Jack hadn't noticed, pressing it in a specific sequence until it clicks open. Inside is a leather portfolio that looks innocuous enough to be hotel stationery. The complete guest registry of every safe house, resistance cell, and escape route from Norway to Spain. Klaus died protecting this. Jack reaches for it, then stops. Why are you giving this to me? How do I know this isn't a trap? Because, Anna says, stepping closer until they're almost touching, whoever killed my brother is still in this hotel, and I think they know you're here. Before Jack can respond, the sound of voices fills the corridor outside. Not the measured tones of late-night hotel business, but urgent, aggressive German that makes Jack's blood run cold. Anna's face goes white. Reinhardt's conducting an inspection. He does this sometimes, searches rooms without warning, looking for contraband or suspicious activity. Can we get out? Not through the door, but there's a service passage behind that cabinet. It connects to the laundry chutes. Jack moves to help her shift the heavy wooden cabinet, but as they work together, their situation becomes clear. If Reinhardt finds room 17 open, if he discovers the Resistance Command Center, Anna's cover will be blown and Jack's mission will be over. Worse, the portfolio Anna holds contains the names of hundreds of people whose lives depend on that information never falling into German hands. Their hands brush as they maneuver around each other in the small space, and despite everything, Jack feels that electric connection again. Anna's breathing is quick and shallow, whether from exertion or fear he can't tell. But when she looks at him in the dim light, he sees something in her eyes that has nothing to do with espionage. Anna, he starts to say, but she shakes her head. After we survive this, if We survived this. The cabinet slides away to reveal a narrow passage that looks like it belongs in a medieval castle rather than a modern hotel. Jack can hear Reinhardt's inspection team in the corridor now, methodically checking doors and testing locks. Anna hands him the leather portfolio. Take this to the British Embassy. Ask for someone named Thompson in the cultural attaché's office. He'll know what to do with it. What about you? I'm going back to the reception desk. I was never here. But as Anna turns toward the passage, Jack catches her arm. Wait, if your brother was working, both sides, how do I know you're not doing the same thing? For a moment, her mask slips completely and Jack sees the raw grief underneath. Because they cut my brother's throat and threw him in the river like garbage. Because every day I watch Nazi officers drink champagne in my lobby while refugees beg for rooms they can't afford. Because I've been pretending to smile at Colonel Reinhardt for 6 months while planning exactly how I'm going to kill him. The honesty in her voice convinces Jack more than any carefully constructed cover story could. He releases her arm, but before she can disappear into the passage, he pulls her back. This time, when their faces are inches apart, neither of them pretends it's accidental. The kiss is desperate and urgent, tasting of cigarettes and secrets and the knowledge that they might not survive the night. When they break apart, Anna's composure is completely shattered. Find me after this is over, Jack whispers against her ear. If we're both still alive. Anna disappears into the passage like smoke, leaving Jack alone with the portfolio and the sound of Reinhardt's inspection team working their way down the hallway. He can hear them testing the door to room 16, then 15, getting closer to his hiding spot with methodical German efficiency. Jack slides into the passage behind the cabinet, pulling it back into place just as the voices reach room 17. Through a gap in the wood, he can see flashlight beams sweeping the corridor. But something's wrong. The inspection team has stopped at room 17, and Jack can hear Reinhardt's voice clearly now, speaking to someone in rapid German. The words are too fast for Jack to follow completely, but he catches enough to understand that they're not just conducting a routine search. They're looking for someone specific. They're looking for Klaus Weber. Jack's blood turns to ice as he realizes the trap he's walked into. If Reinhardt knows Weber is dead, if he knows about the resistance, command center in room 17, then this whole evening has been an elaborate setup. The question is whether Anna is part of it, or if she's as trapped as Jack is. The cabinet concealing the passage is solid, but not soundproof. Jack can hear Reinhardt and his men moving through the room, examining the radio equipment, discussing the maps in voices that sound more satisfied than surprised. So, Weber was working for the Americans, Reinhardt says in accented English, clearly for the benefit of someone who doesn't speak German. How disappointing, though not entirely unexpected. Jack presses his ear to the gap, trying to identify the second voice. When it responds, his world tilts on its axis. The portfolio is what matters. Weber's American contact should have it by now if our intelligence is correct. The voice belongs to Beatrice Silva, the young Portuguese maid who gave Jack the key, who promised him information about special services, who led him directly to this room. She's working for Reinhardt. Jack's mind races through the implications. If Beatrice is German intelligence, then the key she gave him wasn't meant to help him find the Resistance Command Center. It was meant to trap him inside it. Which means Anna's story about her brother, about the portfolio, about everything, could be an elaborate lie designed to flush out American operations in Lisbon. But even as the thought forms, Jack knows it doesn't fit. The grief in Anna's eyes when she mentioned her brother's death was real. The hatred in her voice when she talked about watching Nazi officers in the lobby was genuine, which means either Anna is an exceptional actress or she's as much a target as Jack is. Through the gap, Jack watches Reinhardt examine the forged documents with the practiced eye of a counterintelligence expert. These are quite good, better than most we've intercepted. The Americans have improved their tradecraft considerably. The radio transmitter is still warm, Beatrice reports. Someone was here recently. Yes, I imagine they were. Reinhardt's voice carries quiet satisfaction. Mr. Harper is proving to be exactly as predictable as our psychological profile suggested. Americans are so delightfully direct in their approach to espionage. Jack's cover is blown. Not just compromised, but utterly destroyed. Worse, if Reinhardt has a psychological profile on him, it means German intelligence has been tracking him longer than just his arrival in Lisbon. They may know about his previous missions, his contacts, his methods. The portfolio in his hand suddenly feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. Is the intelligence inside real, or is it carefully crafted? Disinformation designed to compromise Allied operations across Europe? And if Anna gave it to him knowing it was false, what does that make her? Reinhardt's voice grows closer, and Jack realizes the colonel is examining the cabinet that conceals his hiding place. Curious. This seems to have been moved recently. Jack's hand finds the handle of the knife he keeps strapped to his ankle. If they discover the passage, if they corner him in this narrow space, he'll have to fight his way out. But fighting means abandoning any hope of completing his mission, and it means leaving Anna to face whatever consequences come from tonight's discoveries. "Shall I check behind it?" Beatrice asks. "No need. If someone was hiding there, they would have run the moment they heard us enter the room. Americans lack the patience for extended concealment." The footsteps move away from the cabinet, and Jack allows himself to breathe again. But his relief is short-lived. "However," Reinhardt continues, "we should post men at both ends of this corridor. Mr. Harper will return, either for the woman or for whatever intelligence he believes he's found. When he does, we'll be waiting." The woman. Jack's stomach drops as he realizes Reinhardt knows about Anna's involvement. Whether she's a willing participant or an unwitting target, she's in danger, and Jack is trapped in a service passage with intelligence that may be worthless, listening to German officers plan to use him as bait. Jack waits until the sounds disappear completely before moving the cabinet and emerging from the passage. Room 17 looks exactly as they left it, but now he knows it's been deliberately preserved as a trap. The maps, the radio equipment, even the warm coffee cup were all staged to create the illusion of an active resistance operation. But the portfolio in his hands feels real. The weight of it, the texture of the leather, the way the papers inside shift when he moves. Either it's an incredibly elaborate fake, or Anna gave him genuine intelligence despite walking into Reinhardt's trap. There's only one way to find out which is true. He needs to get to the British Embassy and have Thompson examine the contents, but first, he needs to warn Anna. If she's genuinely on his side, she's walking into a trap. And if she's working for Reinhardt, well, at least he'll know where he stands. Jack moves to the door of room 17, listening carefully for any sound in the corridor. Silence, but that doesn't mean the hallway's empty. German efficiency would include silent sentries, men positioned to watch for his return without alerting him to their presence. He needs another route. The service passage Anna used to disappear might connect to other parts of the hotel, giving him access to areas Reinhardt's men aren't watching. Jack returns to the cabinet, sliding it aside to reveal the narrow opening. The passage is cramped and poorly lit, with pipes and electrical conduits running along the walls. It smells of cleaning supplies and dust, the hidden arteries of a grand hotel where guests never venture. Jack moves carefully, using his lighter to navigate when the darkness becomes absolute. After what feels like hours but is probably minutes, he reaches a junction where the passage splits in. 3 directions, one leads upward, probably toward the upper floors, another heads downward, likely connecting to the basement and service areas. The third continues horizontally, running parallel to what Jack estimates is the main corridor. Jack chooses the horizontal passage, hoping to emerge somewhere near the elevator or main staircase, but as he moves deeper into the hotel's hidden networks, he begins to hear sounds that make his blood run cold. Voices speaking in multiple languages, urgent and frightened, the sound of doors slamming, and underneath it all, a woman crying in what sounds like Portuguese. Whatever Reinhardt's operation involves, it's bigger than just capturing one American spy. It sounds like a coordinated sweep through the entire hotel, rounding up refugees and resistance members who thought they were safe in neutral Portugal. Jack reaches another junction and pauses, trying to orient himself within the hotel's layout. If his internal compass is correct, he should be directly below the main lobby, which means Anna is somewhere above him, probably at the reception desk trying to maintain her cover while chaos erupts around her. A service ladder leads upward and Jack begins to climb. the portfolio tucked securely inside his jacket. But, as he reaches what should be the lobby level, he hears something that stops him cold. The sound reverberates through the passages like thunder, followed immediately by screaming and the sound of running feet. Whatever operation Reinhardt is conducting has just turned violent. Jack pushes through a concealed panel and finds himself behind the reception desk in the main lobby. The elegant space that hours earlier hosted diplomatic conversations and piano music has become a battlefield. German officers are herding guests toward the main exit, separating them into groups based on nationality and apparent value. Refugees clutch their belongings with terrified faces while Nazi soldiers examine papers with brutal efficiency. And in the center of it all stands Anna, her hands raised facing Colonel Reinhardt with the kind of defiant dignity that comes from knowing you're about to die. "Miss Weiss," Reinhardt says with cold politeness. Or should I say, Fräulein Weber? Yes, we know who you really are, just as we know where your American friend is hiding. Jack can see Anna's face clearly from his concealed position behind the reception desk. She shows no fear, only the kind of calculated hatred that comes from months of careful planning suddenly coming undone. "I have no idea what you're talking about, Colonel. I'm simply trying to assist our guests during this unfortunate disturbance." Reinhardt's laugh is like ice breaking. "Come now, Anna. We found your brother's body 3 days after he disappeared. We also found his complete files, including his correspondence with American intelligence. Did you really think his death would go uninvestigated?" Jack's mind races. If Klaus Weber's files revealed Anna's identity, then Reinhardt has known who she was for days, which means tonight wasn't just about capturing Jack. It was about using both of them to flush out the entire Lisbon resistance network. "Your American contact should be joining us shortly," Reinhardt continues. "Mr. Harper is remarkably predictable for a trained operative. He'll come for you, of course. Americans are so wonderfully sentimental about their romantic attachments." Anna's composure cracks for just a moment, and Jack sees something in her eyes that might be regret, or it might be a warning. "There is no American contact," she says quietly. "There is no romance. There's only a hotel receptionist trying to do her job during wartime." But even as she speaks, Jack can see movement in the shadows near the service entrance. Beatrice Silva, no longer playing the role of innocent Portuguese maid, leading a team of German soldiers toward the reception area. Jack realizes with crystal clarity that he has two choices. He can attempt to escape through the service passages, taking whatever intelligence the portfolio contains back to his handlers and leaving Anna to face the consequences of her cover being blown. Or he can try to extract her, risking both their lives and potentially compromising the mission that brought him to Lisbon. The decision should be easy. OSS training is clear about priorities. The mission comes first, always. Individual operatives are expendable if their sacrifice serves the greater good. But, as Jack watches Anna face down Reinhardt's interrogation with quiet dignity, he knows he can't walk away. Not from her and not from the resistance members being rounded up throughout the hotel. He checks his weapon and prepares to move. The portfolio will have to take its chances. Anna Weiss is not going to die in this lobby tonight if Jack Harper has anything to say about it. But before Jack can act, before he can reveal his position and start a gunfight that will almost certainly end badly for everyone involved, new sounds echo through the lobby. Madame Almeida appears at the top of the main staircase, her elegant dress torn and her graying hair disheveled. Behind her, Sophia Marquez stumbles down the stairs, her performance gown stained with what looks like blood. "Colonel Reinhardt!" Madame Almeida calls out, her voice carrying across the marble floor. "There's been a shooting on the 3rd floor. Someone has been killed." Reinhardt's attention shifts from Anna to the hotel owner. "Killed? By whom?" "We don't know. We found the body in the corridor outside room 18. A man, shot twice in the chest. The killer escaped through the service stairs." Jack feels the world tilt around him as he processes this information. Room 18 is directly across from room 17. Someone was killed in the exact area where he and Anna had their clandestine meeting. The timing is too convenient to be coincidence. Did you recognize the victim? Reinhardt demands. Madame Almeida descends the stairs slowly, her composure beginning to return. I'm afraid I did, Colonel. It was Dr. Eduardo Santos, one of our regular guests. He was a retired professor from the University of Coimbra. But Jack catches something in her voice, a carefully controlled emphasis that suggests Dr. Santos was more than just a retired professor. And when Madame Almeida reaches the bottom of the stairs, she looks directly at the reception desk, her eyes finding Jack's hiding place with laser precision. She knows he's there. More than that, she's trying to tell him something. But what? And how does the murder of Dr. Santos connect to Reinhardt's operation? The answer comes from an unexpected source. Sophia Marquez, still standing at the foot of the stairs with blood on her dress, speaks in a voice barely above a whisper. Eduardo was carrying papers, documents in Portuguese and English. The killer took them. Jack's blood turns to ice. If Dr. Santos was carrying documents connecting to the resistance network, if someone killed him to obtain those papers, then the operation Jack thought he was disrupting is actually much larger and more complex than he realized. Reinhardt's pale eyes narrow as he processes this new information. What kind of documents? I don't know, Sophia replies, but Jack catches the slight tremor in her voice that suggests she knows exactly what kind of documents they were. Before anyone can respond, the radio on one of the German soldiers' belts crackles to life. A voice speaks in rapid German, reporting something that makes Reinhardt's expression change from confident control to barely suppressed fury. Say that again, he barks into the radio. The voice repeats its message, and this time Jack catches enough words to understand the gist. Someone has broken into the German embassy. Files have been stolen. The theft occurred approximately 20 minutes ago during the exact time frame when Jack was discovering Room 17's secrets. Jack realizes with stunning clarity that tonight's events aren't random. They're coordinated. While he was being led to Room 17 and Reinhardt was conducting his hotel sweep, someone else was hitting the German embassy. The question is whether that someone is working with him or against him. Anna must realize the same thing because she chooses that moment to act. With Reinhardt distracted by the radio report, she lunges for the service bell on the reception desk, the one that connects to the hotel's emergency communication system. The bell's piercing sound echoes through every floor and corridor of the Hotel Ashbourne, a signal that brings immediate chaos. Doors slam open throughout the building as guests and staff respond to what sounds like a fire alarm. Within seconds, the lobby fills with confused and frightened people, destroying Reinhardt's careful control of the situation. Jack seizes the moment. Using the crowd as cover, he vaults over the reception desk and grabs Anna's hand, pulling her toward the service entrance before Reinhardt's men can react. This way! He shouts over the chaos, his training taking over as he navigates through the panicking crowd. But as they reach the service corridor, Anna pulls him to a stop. Wait, she gasps, breathing hard from the sprint across the lobby. Eduardo Santos. He wasn't just carrying papers, he was carrying something else. Something my brother gave him before he died. What kind of something? The real intelligence you came for, that portfolio I gave you, is fake, Jack. It's carefully constructed disinformation designed to compromise Allied operations. Eduardo had the genuine list. Jack's world tilts again as he realizes the full scope of the deception. The Resistance Command Center in Room 17, the portfolio Anna handed him, even their romantic moment might all have been carefully orchestrated to keep him busy, while the real operation unfolded elsewhere. So who killed Santos? He demands. And who has the real intelligence now? Before Anna can answer, the service corridor fills with the sound of running footsteps, multiple sets coming from both directions, trapping them in the middle of a narrow space with nowhere to run. German soldiers, Anna whispers, pressing herself against the wall. They're sealing off the building. Jack draws his weapon, knowing that their chances of fighting their way out are slim to none. But as the footsteps grow closer, he sees something that changes everything. The person leading the group from the left isn't a German soldier. It's Beatrice Silva, but she's not wearing her maid's uniform anymore. Instead, she's dressed in the dark clothes and equipment of a professional operative, and she's carrying what looks like a military radio. Jack Harper, she calls out in accented English that sounds nothing like the Portuguese maid who gave him the key to room 17. We need to talk. Portuguese intelligence, Anna whispers with sudden understanding. Beatrice isn't working for the Germans. She's PVDE. The Portuguese secret police, Jack realizes, Portugal's own intelligence service charged with maintaining the country's neutrality by any means necessary. Which means tonight's events aren't just about German versus Allied intelligence. There's a third player in the game, one with its own agenda. Miss Silva, Jack calls back, keeping his weapon ready. Interesting evening for hotel staff to be carrying military equipment? Beatrice's laugh echoes off the corridor walls. Hotel staff, yes, but also someone who has been tracking Nazi spy networks in Lisbon for 2 years. Someone who has been very interested in room 17 and the American operative foolish enough to walk into such an obvious trap. The pieces of the puzzle suddenly snap into place in Jack's mind. Beatrice didn't give him the key to help him find intelligence. She gave it to him because she knew Reinhardt would be waiting, and she wanted to see how the trap would play out. She's been using both the German and American operations to gather intelligence for Portuguese interests. The papers Dr. Santos was carrying, Jack says. You killed him for them. Dr. Santos killed himself, Beatrice replies coldly. He chose to resist rather than hand over information that could compromise Portuguese neutrality. Most unfortunate. Anna's grip tightens on Jack's arm. Eduardo was Portuguese resistance. He was helping refugees escape through Spain. If Beatrice killed him, she's not protecting neutrality. She's protecting something else. Before Jack can process the implications, the radio on Beatrice's belt crackles with an urgent message in Portuguese. He doesn't understand the words, but her expression tells him everything he needs to know. Something has gone very wrong with whatever operation she's been conducting. Change of plans, she announces, raising her weapon. Both of you hands where I can see. Them. You're coming with me. But before anyone can move, the lights in the corridor suddenly go out, plunging them into complete darkness. In the blackness, Jack hears Anna's sharp intake of breath, followed by the sound of rapid footsteps moving in multiple directions. Someone is taking advantage of the power failure to reposition, but he can't tell if it's Beatrice, her backup, or someone else entirely. A hand grabs Jack's wrist in the darkness, and Anna's voice whispers urgently in his ear. Emergency lighting will come on in 30 seconds. When it does, follow me and don't look back. How do you know about emergency lighting? Because I designed the upgrade to this hotel's electrical system. My real job wasn't hotel reception, Jack. I'm an engineer. The corridor fills with dim red emergency lighting, revealing that Beatrice and her team have vanished. In their place stands a figure that makes Jack's blood run cold. Colonel Reinhardt emerges from the shadows at the far end of the corridor, flanked by 2 German soldiers. But he's not looking at Jack or Anna. He's staring at something on the floor between them. Jack follows his gaze and sees what has captured the colonel's attention. Lying on the corridor floor is Dr. Eduardo Santos, but he's not dead. He's very much alive, and he's pointing a Luger pistol directly at Reinhardt's chest. Good evening, Friedrich, Santos says in perfect German. I believe you've been looking for me. The revelation that Santos is alive, that he's armed, and that he knows Reinhardt personally changes everything Jack thought he understood about tonight's events. This isn't a chance encounter or a desperate escape attempt. This is a planned confrontation between 2 people with a history. Eduardo, Reinhardt replies, his voice carrying a mixture of surprise and something that might be fear. I was told you were dead. Reports of my death were carefully exaggerated, though the same cannot be said for some of your men. The sound of gunfire echoing through the hotel suggests that whatever operation is unfolding involves more than just the people in this corridor. Jack realizes that the Hotel Ashbourne has become a battlefield, with multiple factions fighting for control of intelligence that could reshape the war. Anna tugs on his sleeve, trying to pull him toward a service door that Jack hadn't noticed in the red lighting. But before they can move, Santos speaks again. Mr. Harper, I presume. American Office of Strategic Services. Your reputation precedes you. Jack freezes. Santos knows who he is, which means Jack's cover has been blown far more completely than he realized. Every faction involved in tonight's chaos knows exactly who he is and why he's in Lisbon. Dr. Santos, I assume, though apparently your death was greatly exaggerated. Santos's smile is grim in the red lighting. Sometimes the only way to survive is to disappear completely. You would do well to remember that lesson. The intelligence I came for, Jack says carefully. Do you have it? That depends on which intelligence you mean. The list your government sent you to retrieve, the German spy network your new friend Anna has been mapping, or the Portuguese operation that Miss Silva represents? Before Jack can respond, Anna speaks up. Eduardo, tell him about the fourth list. The fourth list? Jack asks. Santos's expression grows even grimmer. The one that contains the names of every Allied operative in Portugal, including you, Mr. Harper, including your real name, your previous missions, and the location of every safe house you've used since arriving in Europe. The words hit Jack like a physical blow. If such a list exists, if it falls into German hands, it won't just compromise his mission. It will destroy Allied intelligence networks across neutral Europe and condemn hundreds of operatives to death. Who has it? He demands. That, Santos says, is the question we're all here to answer. Reinhardt's radio crackles to life with an urgent message that makes his face go white. He barks a response in rapid German, then looks at Santos with something approaching panic. The embassy raid, he says. They took everything. Not everything, Santos replies. They took what we wanted them to take. Carefully prepared disinformation that will keep your intelligence services busy for months while we complete our real work. Jack begins to understand the true scope of what's been happening. Tonight wasn't about multiple competing operations accidentally colliding. It was about a coordinated deception designed to neutralize German intelligence while protecting Allied operations. And somehow everyone involved knew about it except him. Anna, he says quietly, what aren't you telling me? She looks at him with something that might be regret. That this was always about protecting you, Jack. From the moment you arrived in Lisbon, you've been walking into one trap after another. We've been trying to keep you alive long enough to complete your real mission, which is getting out of Portugal with the knowledge that the German spy network here is compromised. Your extraction is scheduled for dawn. That gives us about 3 hours to get you to the harbor. The sound of boots on marble floors echoes through the hotel as various factions converge on their location. Jack realizes that the conversation is over and the fighting is about to begin. But before anyone can move, before weapons can be raised or plans can be executed, a single gunshot rings out in the corridor. The sound is impossibly loud in the narrow space, and for a moment everyone freezes. Then Dr. Eduardo Santos staggers backward, blood spreading across his chest, his weapon clattering to the floor. Jack spins around to see who fired, expecting to find Reinhardt or one of his soldiers. Instead, he finds himself staring at Madame Almeida, who is holding a smoking pistol with the steady grip of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Madame, Anna gasps, what have you done? What I had to do, the hotel owner replies calmly. Dr. Santos was about to compromise an operation 2 years in the making. I couldn't allow that to happen. Santos slides down the wall, leaving a trail of blood on the burgundy wallpaper. But even as he dies, he manages to speak one last time. Jack, he whispers, his voice barely audible. The real intelligence. Room 23. Behind the mirror. As Dr. Santos dies in the dim red emergency lighting, Jack Harper realizes that everything he thought he knew about his mission, about the Hotel Ashbourne, and about the people around him, has been carefully constructed fiction. But there's no time to process the revelation. Footsteps are approaching from every direction, weapons are being drawn, and dawn is still hours away. If Jack is going to survive long enough to discover the truth behind Santos's final words, he's going to need allies he can trust. The question is, in a hotel full of spies and double agents, is there anyone left he can believe? Who do you think killed Dr. Santos? And why? What secrets lie behind the mirror in room 23? Drop your theories in the comments below and don't forget to hit that like button if you're ready for the next episode. Subscribe now because the Hotel Ashbourne still has deadly secrets to reveal, and Jack Harper's survival depends on uncovering them before dawn breaks over Lisbon's harbor.